Okay, I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Nusaila binti Johari, a senior lecturer from Industrial Logistics session from UniKL MyTech Johor, Malaysia. Okay, as we already arranged today, we will talk about the disclosure of financial reporting. Okay, in my part, I will explain about disclosure of financial reporting. Might be I will take around 45 minutes to 1 hour. If let's say you have any question, you may proceed to ask me the question. All right. Okay. I think that's all about me. Okay, I will start our class. All right. Okay. Basically, I will explain about the introduction to the financial reporting. Okay. User of the financial reporting and as well the information included in the financial reporting and what we should disclose in the financial reporting. Okay. Introduction to financial reporting. Basically, financial reporting is the process of documenting and communication of financial activities as well as performance in specific time or period. Okay, normally it's either quarterly or halfly or yearly basis. All right. So the company use financial report to organize accounting data and report on current financial status. So the purpose is to know the future profitability and then to know where is the industry position and growth, and many financial reports are available for public review. Okay. Okay, basically, in terms of documenting, okay, financial activities, uh, is a system of recording financial transaction, okay, or any event that occur within our organization. And communication basically because we want to give a report, financial report, that's mean of communicating organization, financial performance. And of course, we have to follow the compliance and regulation. Okay, in Malaysia, basically, we have to follow generally accepted accounting principle. All right, GAAP. All right. So based on the financial report, also we can evaluate the company performance toward the industry. Okay. The internal user of the financial reporting adalah is the owner and management. Alright. And the external user of the financial reporting is the bank, tax agency, shareholder, creditor, and investor. Okay, normally this is the normal user of our information financial reporting. Need for the financial minimum information. Okay, basically in information disclosure, we need to inform about the balance sheet, income statement, statement of change in equity, cash flow statement, as well the notes to the financial statement. Okay. Basically, balance sheet, okay, is to provide a snapshot of organization financial position at specific point in time. Okay, it show about the asset, liabilities, as well and the equity. All right, and income statement, basically income statement summarize a company revenue, company expenses, net income or loss for the specific period. Okay, this can be done either quarterly or the yearly basis. Okay, in terms of cash flow statement, okay, cash flow statement is the detail for the inflow and outflow of cash and either cash equivalent during a specific period. So normally in the cash flow statement, we will categorize it into the operating, investing, and financing activities. So this detail we will look at later. Okay, I will explain later in detail for this part. Okay, and then the statement of share in equity basically it show if there is any change in shareholder equity, alright, over a specific period or any accounting for factors as net income, dividend, or stock issuance. Okay. So about a business or company need to disclose the information as required by rule. Okay, basically company must disclose the information according to the Malaysian Financial Reporting Standard. Okay, so this is the purpose for future growth prospect, a profit assurance, how resources are managed, and how the wealth was generated. Okay, so in terms of future growth prospect, basically this is important for investors. Okay, either current or potential investor to understanding a company future growth. So they can look at the financial report, okay, to assess a company historical performance as well as strategic plan and financial health. All right. In terms of profit assurance, okay, basically investor and shareholder, okay, they are interested in the company ability, okay, to generate and sustain the profit. Okay, so they want to know, okay, how is the company has profitable business model and whether it can continue to generate income over a long term or not. All right. And how resources are managed. Okay, this is important to ensure how a company manage its resources. Okay, both financial and non-financial resources. And how wealth was generated basically to stakeholder, okay, to generator and to the general public. Okay, they want to know whether the income statement and related disclosure provide detail on the source of revenue and the cost as well. All right, clear? Okay. So type of the user, basically I already explained, right? The internal user is looks like manager, employees. That is the external users, such as our inland revenue board. In Malaysia income tax, we call as a inland revenue board, supplier, shareholder, creditor, customer, student, as well as the competitor. Alright, so basically in Malaysia, all companies registered in Malaysia must submit the annual financial statement to Company Commission. Okay, as per Company Act 1965. So the company must adhere to the financial reporting guideline of Company Act and report the standard stated in 1979. So basically by that time it's called as a international accounting standard. Okay. However, okay, in 1918, MIA, which is called Malaysia Institute of Accountants, okay, they are cooperated from the Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant, okay, previously known as a MACPA, is issue their own accounting standard, okay, which were known as a Malaysian Accounting Standard. Previously, they called as a MAS, Malaysian Accounting Standard. Okay, so it's responsible for the issuance of a new standard and review with a certain chain. Okay, and in early 2005, MASB changed name to the Financial Reporting Standard. Okay, right now we call this as a Malaysian Financial Reporting Standard, MFRS. Okay, so all the minimum disclosure must follow MFRS standard. Okay. Besides the complying the Company Act in 1965, okay, companies in Malaysia also need to comply to the other requirement as determined by the other authority bodies such as a Central Bank of Malaysia, Security Commission, and Inland Revenue Board. As I mentioned, Inland Revenue Board is a income tax in Malaysia. All right. So we should disclose information about the balance sheet, income statement, statement of change in equity, okay, cash flow statement, and notes to the financial account. This is the 5 item must be listed in the financial reporting. Okay, give me a second. Okay, basically, okay, in balance sheet, okay, we must explain about the property, plant, and equipment that company has. Okay. At the same time, is the investment property such as our investment, long-term investment, or in any short-term investment. Okay. Intangible asset, okay, financial asset, investment, and biological asset. Okay. Intangible asset basically is the non-physical asset. Okay. Non-physical assets such as goodwill, our intelligent property, brand value, even a software and technology that we use. That is called intangible asset. And the financial asset, basically, they represent a claim to the payment of a sum of money or other financial benefit, okay, such as a stock, bond, mutual fund, or any exchange rate funds. Okay. Okay. As well, we need to explain about, we have to disclose our inventory, how much stock we have, okay, and trade and other receivable, even cash and cash equivalent, trade and others payable, and financial liabilities as any collateral, right? In terms of share of capital, we need to mention how much share that we are authorized. Okay, what is the number of share that we are issued and fully paid? Okay, or number of share that we are issued but not fully paid. So at the same time, we must declare how much our par value per share and reconciliation of the number of share outstanding in the market, either at the beginning as well as at the end of the years. Okay. Any question so far? Okay. At the end, entity without share capital, such as partnership, we have to disclose as well lah, because we want to know if we are doing any changing during in this period, okay, in terms of equity interest or in terms of the right and preference and restriction to any category of equity interest. Okay, basically all the items we disclose in our balance sheet. Okay. What is balance sheet basically? Okay. Balance sheet, we are report on the business financial position at specific date, which normally at the end of a certain accounting period. Okay, and asset, liabilities, and owner equity, we are presented in the balance sheet. So we know how much company owes and what the company own. Okay. So balance sheet is a statement which reflects all assets and the amount owned by a business, okay, and all the liability claimed on by the business at a certain specific period of time, like the end of the year. So why we prepare the balance sheet? Basically, we want to communicate the information of financial position for a business, okay, at certain accounting period to the interest party. We want to explain all the details to our shareholder. We want to explain the detail to our stakeholder of the business as well. Okay. And the information disclosure in balance sheet component basically is the current asset, fixed asset, sometimes we call as a non-current asset, intangible assets such as our goodwill, our patent, our copyright, and then our current liabilities, current long-term liabilities, and the shareholder equity. This one to disclose our preference share, ordinary share, as well as the dividend. Okay. In terms of current assets, all right. Basically, okay, current asset, what we discuss on the current asset is the item which reasonably expected to be realized ataupun we are consumed within a year, such as our inventory, our account receivable, cash and bank as well, our prepaid expenses, all the expenses that we are paying early, and our marketable securities, such as our short-term bond and government bond. Okay. And we also need to explain all the asset. Okay, fixed asset, basically all the asset which are tangible or not current in nature, such as land, building, plant and machinery, furniture and fixture, our vehicle, as well as our investment. Any question? Okay. So, I already mentioned about a tangible asset. Tangible asset is the item such as goodwill, patent, copyright, and our trademark. Okay. Basically, intangible asset, goodwill is all the intangible asset lah. Company reputation, okay, customer relationship, okay, brand value. Patent is the asset such as legal protection granted by a government, okay, such as a holder of a novel or useful innovation, other any process or product. And then copyright protect our original work of authorship, such as a book, music, okay, software, and other creative content. The trademark basically is more to the symbol, okay, name or any design used to identify or distinguish product or service from one company to another company. Okay, so in terms of current liability basically is a obligation that are reasonable expected to be paid by the business within a year or less. So example of a current liability is the account payable. Account payable sometimes we call as a creditor. And accrued expenses. Okay. Accrued expenses, basically all the expenses that we not paid yet. And unearned revenue, bank overdraft, or any short-term loan. Okay. Long-term liabilities. Okay, long-term liabilities is the obligation expected to be due after 1 year. Okay, that is our long-term loan, our bond, our mortgage, and long-term notes. Alright. So, in terms of shareholder equity basically we will declare how much the amount of our ordinary share, preference share, and the return earning. Okay, ordinary share normally we also known as a common stock. Okay, it's an equity ownership that company issue to the founder. Okay, normally ordinary share must be fully or partially paid. Okay, and preference share is the share that rank above other share in terms of dividend. Okay, and basically is a fixed income security. Okay. As a minimum requirement, okay, income statement basically a minimum requirement, okay, and income statement should include in the item that present following amount for the period, okay. Para 81 basically is from the MFRS, okay. So we should declare the revenue, expenses, any share of the profit or loss. Okay, either they are joint venture, okay, accounted for using the equity method, and the tax expenses. Okay, give me. Income statement basically is comprising the total of post-tax profit, after-tax profit or loss, and then the tax before the post-tax gain or loss, or we call as a profit or loss. Income statement is an entity to present an analysis of expenses using a classification based on either the nature of expenses or their function within their entity. So, whichever provide information that is reliable and more relevant. So, income statement basically just want to know either that particular year we are in a gain or in a loss position. Okay, that's why sometimes we call it as a profit and loss statement because we will present the result of the business operation for certain accounting period. Okay, we will show how much is the operational cost and expenses. Okay, and it will deduct from our sales revenue or any others income. Okay, which will result in either a profit or loss. Okay, this is the calculation. Okay, basically, revenue expenses we call as a profit or loss, and it represents the revenue and expenses and the net income result of a business activity for specific period of a time. So this is important sources to derive an important decision. Only by then we can easily make decision. Which expenses should we cut? Or what nature of business that we need to focus to gain the revenue. Okay, so in order to measure the profit or loss of a business, revenue must be matched with the expenses incurred to recognize the revenue in the same accounting period. So basically, income statement present gross profit, operating income, and a net income. Okay, gross profit basically is a difference between sales revenue and cost of goods sold, while operating income or operating profit basically measure the performance of the cooperation of the business. So net profit or net income, they are representing the economic performance, okay, or financial performance of business for certain accounting period. So in order to get then the net profit, okay, we will add on all the revenues and minus off with the expenses that incurred on that time. Okay, this is the summarize how we will show how is the income statement shown in the financial report. So revenue deduct with cost of goods sold, we will get the gross profit, and then we will minus off with the operating expenses to get the net operating profit, and minus off with the non-operating expenses and losses, and on non-operating income, we will get net income before tax, minus with income tax, we will get our net profit. Okay. Now we move on to the statement of change in equity. Okay. Statement of change in equity basically present a statement of change in equity that present the profit or loss for a period. Okay. Each item of income statement and expenses for that particular period, as well the total income and expenses. Okay. This is showing separately the total amount attribute to the equity holder of the parent and to minority interest. So basically, this statement will separately show about the equity holder, parent and minority interest. For each component of equity, basically there is the effect of change in accounting policies and correction, okay, of error recognized in accordance with the FRS 108. So we must know the amount of transaction with the equity holder in their capacity as equity holder and showing the separately distribution to equity holder. So the entity of parent and minority company must be shown in this statement. Okay. Any changing in the statement of equity must be declared in financial statement. So the balance of retained earning at the beginning of the period and the balance sheet and the change during the period. Okay. Cash flow statement. Basically, the cash flow statement is the information that disclosed in the cash flow. We must follow the guideline in the FRS as well. Okay, same with the others reporting. Okay, we must complementing the balance sheet and income statement into cash flow statement. Okay, that is a mandatory part of a company financial report, AC 1987. And we need to record all the amount of cash and cash equivalent when we start entering and leaving a company. And then cash flow statement also allow investor to understand how company operation are running, okay, where is the money is coming from, and how is being spent. So we will know how where is the money come and how we spend the money, how the company is spend the money. Okay, basically cash flow statement is distant from the income statement and balance sheet because it does not include the amount of future incoming and even outgoing cash. Okay, therefore the cash is not the same as net income, which on the income statement and balance sheet we will include as sale and sale made on a credit. But in a cash flow statement, we will only show the cash that happened on that particular time according to the accounting period. So normally we will distribute as well according to the part such as the operation cost, investing cost, and financing cost. Okay. In terms of operation cost, okay. Operation cost basically measuring the cash inflow and outflow caused by the core business of operation. So the operation component of cash flow reflect how much cash is generated from a company product or services. So all the change made in cash, okay, any account receivable, depreciation, inventory, and account payable, it reflected in cash from the operation. So operation might be everything that we need to operate, we are using to operate by the daily basis. Okay, either receivable account, depreciation, inventory, kan? And investing basically in the chain in equipment or any chain in asset if or investment that related to cash from investing. So basically, it's normally from the cash out item. Okay, because cash is used to buy a new equipment, or we use cash to buy a building, or even short-term assets such as marketable securities. Okay, and however, okay, when a company diverts a cash of an asset, okay, this transaction is considered cash in for calculating cash from investing. Okay, and financing. Okay, basically finance because there is a change in debt. Okay, loan or any dividend that are accounted for in cash from financing. Okay, change in cash from financing are cash in, and when capital is raised or they are cash out when dividend are paid. So if let's say we receive, okay, cash in, capital is raised. If cash out, dividend are paid. And notes to the financial statement of an entity, basically they present the information about the basic of a preparation of a financial statement and specific accounting policies. Okay, that is according to FRS 1 paragraph of 108 until 115. Okay, all the company information required by FRS that is not present in the balance sheet, income statement, okay, need to present in the note to the financial statement. Okay, because we want to provide additional information that is not present in the balance sheet, income statement, change in equity. Okay, but it's relevant for our understanding, which is we need to know before we make any decision. Okay, the content of this is the content of annual financial report. Basically, every annual report must consist of chairman statement, okay, corporate governance statement, okay, audit statement, as well as the director report and statement by the director. Besides that, of course, all the financial statement that I mentioned previously. Okay, balance sheet, income statement, statement of change in equity, cash flow statement, and notes to the financial statement. Okay. This is the characteristic of useful financial statement. Okay. All financial statement must be relevant, meaning that we can use it as a fact for the period of time lah, for the long time. And then reliable. Okay. Comparable. Okay, we can compare from one company to another company or to another industry. Understandable. It must be easily understand. Okay, all the information provided, we must use the the strong information. Okay, and then additional financial report. Okay, element that we should include in the additional financial report. Okay, we need to include the interim report. Okay, statistic summary statement of profit of loss. Okay, segmental reporting, corporate objective statement. So basically, also we need to inform the staff report or salary report, statement of future prospect, okay, statement of money exchange, statement of foreign currency transaction, or any statement of value added. Okay, this is the example of the interim report which we must include the chairman statement, okay, comment on the company operation, okay, analysis on sale, income statement for the group, okay, movement of shareholder fund, cash flow statement, and notes to the account. This is the interim report that we must include in the report. Okay, and segmental report. Because segmental report basically is compulsory for company which have debt, security, and equity. Okay, security transacted to the public. Okay, and company which have initial public offering. Some company will issue IPO, so they must have segmental report. Okay, information to be reported according to the business and geographical location where decision of fund is situated. Okay, basically, this segment report must include revenue, operating result, okay, carrying value for the asset, capital expenditure, as well as the depreciation and amortization expenses. So in terms of allocation of profit also we need to declare in the segmental report. Okay. In terms of social and environmental disclosure report. Okay, this is called as a green accounting as well. So the rationale of preparing this report is due to the facts that management is supposed to report the cost and benefit of its social and environmental activities. Okay, such as the new type of energy applied in production process, okay, pollution control and environment protection activities. Okay, any jungle and rivers activities. Okay. Okay, so basically that's all from me. Okay. Any question? If there is no question,
May I ask question? If there is no question, may I ask the question?
okay, can.
So, do Malaysian accounting body fully adopt IFRS or not? Fully
Sorry,
adopt
I
or not?
cannot hear. Sorry, I cannot get it. Sorry.
Malaysian accounting body do they fully adopt IFRS or not?
Yes, fully adopt
Okay.
IFRS. Malaysian
Okay.
Financial Reporting Standard, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, most welcome. Okay. I will pass to the admin. If there is no question, I will pass to the admin. Might be right.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Ilva. And then I think it's time for Mr. Dewa deliver your presentation. Sir, are you ready?
Ya, terima kasih. Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Selamat siang rekan-rekan. My colleague Bu Nursaila and students, Indonesian student and Malaysian students. I will try to share my presentation. Hopefully there will be no glitch, so I can deliver my presentation smoothly. Ya. Okay. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, continuing with the environmental and social disclosure, I will discuss an emerging issue that currently attract the attention of regulators, investor, and also the companies. This issue will have profound effect globally, and it certainly will affect not only our generation but also our the future generation. And the issue is the climate change. So I want to discuss this issue from the point of view of accountant. Especially recently, FRS has issued FRS S2 guidance about climate related disclosure. So this is about climate change and also about accountancy. Okay, there are two questions that I will address in my presentation. So the first one is, are climate related matters relevant to be included in financial reporting, to be reflected in financial reporting? And the second question is, if yes, if the first question is the answer of the first question is yes, then how we should internalize the climate related matters into companies' financial report. But I will try to answer this question in my coming slide. So some of you may already have known that the FRS has just issued FRS S2. It's about disclose financial related matters, how to disclose financial related matters, and it will be effective next year, 2024. Before the issuance of FRS 2, there is no specific guidance for the company how to report, how to disclose climate-related matters into the financial statement. So, companies are not using the same guidance before the issuance of FRS S2. They are not using the same guidance. And consequently, the depth of the information disclosed about climate-related change are different among companies, and this is become a big concern from the investor, from the point of view of the user of financial statement, because they are not able to make apple to apple comparison. So because there's no guidance how to disclose climate related matters, and because there's no guidance, each company has disclosed differently among company disclose differently. So probably some of you might think that why the accountant should disclose climate related matters, because there is no requirement in accounting rules that it has to be disclosed. Why we should disclose? Well, it's true that in FRS or in national accounting body in Indonesia or Malaysia, it's true that it's not stated explicitly that climate related matters have to be disclosed. But please not to forget that the FRS is principle based, and Indonesia fully adopt FRS, and Malaysia also adopt. So consequently, Indonesia and Malaysia accounting rules also principle based, which means that although it's not stated explicitly, if the event or if the information is relevant for the investor, it has to be disclosed. So the principle base basically will ensure that the rules are concise, and flexible enough to keep up with the future development, which is currently maybe unconceivable. So our next question should be, what is the acid test? What is the acid test to determine whether the event should be embedded in financial statement? So what is the acid test? So if you ever heard about materiality, the concept of materiality, so materiality is the acid test. The acid test to determine what information should be disclosed and which one shouldn't be disclosed. So not all events should be disclosed. You can imagine if all information from the 2nd January until at the end of the year 31st of December disclosed in financial statement, you can imagine maybe the financial statement as thick as the encyclopedia. Huh? So not all events should be disclosed. Only certain event that should be disclosed. And the materiality principle is the acid test to determine what information should be included and what information should not be disclosed in financial statement. So basically, this principle, the material principle, tries to put accountant in the shoe of user of financial statement. It means accountant should think from the point of view of user of financial statement. Accountant should ask the following question, maybe the question like how this event or how this information will affect the decision taken by user of financial statement. Will they revise their previous decision if this new information is disclosed in financial statement? Those two questions, if the answer of the question is yes, the investor will revise their previous decision if this new information is disclosed. If the answer is yes, then probably that information is material from the point of view of investor, and consequently it should be disclosed. It should be disclosed in financial statement. So international standard 1.7 stated information is material if omitting, misstating, or obscuring could reasonably be expected to influence decision that the parameter of general user make on the basis of this financial statement. So to determine whether a piece of information is material or not, the accountant should use judgment. So it's not black and white. So they use the best judgment to determine whether this information should be included or not. Okay. Now, back to climate change. climate change certainly will affect all industry, although in some industry will be heavily affected, some others maybe some others maybe not heavily affected. So for example, this is a piece of news from the BBC. In leisure industry, global warming will affect the amount of snow in highland, and it will threaten the survivability of sky resort operator. So in accounting jargon, the principle of going concern will be in doubt. In this case, the going concern principle will be in doubt. On other industry, for example, in transportation, climate change also pose risk to railroad and infrastructure and their infrastructure, and this will increase the rate of accident. So especially if the infrastructure is hit by extreme weather, this certainly will affect the survivability of the transportation company. So climate risk also related with going concern issue. So in short term, maybe going concern is not a major issue, but in long term, this can be a significant issue, especially for companies in carbon intensive industry such as coal fire power plant, petrochemical, aviation, maritime. So they will be affected by the climate change. Okay, if you take a look from the point of view of business, recently World Economic Forum, they annually held a survey. They ask what risk will have the most severe impact on the business, and unsurprisingly, some of the the majority of respondents say that climate change is the main global risk. So from the point of view of business, they admit that climate change is threatening their business. So we expect from this result, from the survey result, we expect that the company will need to address and need to embed climate change into their business strategy. Okay. Next, from the point of view of the user of financial statement, of one of them is investor, there are two events in 2020 that indicate that the climate change is relevant for them, and they want to be the climate change when the company want to they ask the company to disclose climate change on their financial statement in September 2020. For example, the largest group of investor, which is manage 103 trillion asset under management, they ask the company to disclose climate related risk on their financial reporting. And on the same year, on November, a group of also global investor also asked 36 Europe's largest company to show how their diversity strategy is aligned with the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement is global agreement to limit the the rise of global temperature. So I think Malaysia is also one signatory of Paris Agreement, and Indonesia also. Almost all countries sign Paris Agreement, and Indonesia has ratified the agreement. So the consequences of signing the agreement is that each government should put cap or should limit the carbon emission on their own territory. And the expectation of the Paris Agreement is that each country will reach carbon neutral for Indonesia. Presiden Jokowi has set Indonesia to achieve carbon neutral in 2060. So many developing countries 2060 for developed countries such as German, French, US, UK, they set to become carbon neutral in 2050. So we can conclude from the survey, the result of the survey of World Economic Forum, and also from the event in 2020, climate-related matter is material, and consequently, this information has to be disclosed on the financial statement. But we know that one challenge remains, that there is a climate-related risk is very uncertain. So it's very difficult for company to assess the impact of climate on companies' financial health and also on their survivability. So because the level of uncertainty is high, so an accountant should disclose the assumption, judgment, and reasonable estimate how the climate change will impact their business. So we already have answered the first question that I show on the second slide of my presentation. Yes, we can conclude that the climate change is material. From the point of view of accountancy, it's material, and it should be disclosed. On financial statement. And the second question is how we internalize the climate change matters into the financial statement. How we embed, how we factor the climate change matter into the financial reporting. I will just show you just three example here, or three account that will be affected by climate change. The first account is PPE, property, plant, equipment. Second is the impact of application of market value, impairment of asset, and the second is on the liability side, contingent liability. So in property, plant, and equipment, climate change certainly will heavily impact the property, plant, and equipment, especially in company in carbon intensive industry. So increase public awareness to reduce the use of gasoline, for example, and switch to electric vehicle certainly affect the demand for gasoline. Certainly will affect, and this will impact the demand, the most valuable asset for in oil and gas company. So you already know that the most valuable asset for oil and gas company is the reserve, the oil reserve or the gas reserve. That's the most valuable asset in oil and gas company, for oil and gas company. So if there is reduction in the demand, what will happen with the value of the oil reserve? What will happen? Certainly, this will impact. This will reduce the value of the oil reserve. Certainly, this will reduce the oil reserve. So if there is a sharp reduction in the demand of gasoline, and it will slash the price of gasoline. It will slash the price of gasoline. And if the price of the gasoline is so low, and it will make the oil exploration and extraction no longer feasible. It means that the demand will drive down the value of the oil reserve. So it will heavily impact the value of the asset for oil and gas industry. So for example, Indonesia has an ambitious target to reduce reliance on coal. Pak Jokowi, our president, has committed to early retire several coal-fired power plant. The first power plant which is to be early retired is Cirebon coal-fired power plant. And if this plant materialize, it will affect the useful of the power plant. It means early retirement will shorten the useful life of the plant. It will shorten the useful life of the plant. Well, the government plan to early close the coal-fired power plant not only affect the power plant itself, but also the upstream industry that support the power plant, such as coal mining. Coal mining industry, yeah, Indonesia is one of the biggest coal producer and one of the biggest coal exporter. So it will create what some experts say stranded asset. It means the value of the oil reserve or coal reserve will be decreased because they are not feasible because the company decided not to extract the coal because the demand is reduced. The demand is reduced. So this will create a stranded asset. Next, okay. Certain asset will be vulnerable to climate risk, especially asset property in or asset in coastal area. So extreme weather will potentially reduce the market value because the buyer will perceive higher risk for property located in coastal area. So to compensate for higher risk, the buyer of the property will demand price asset reduction. So it will depress the market value of the property located in coastal area, and this will certainly impair the value of the asset. So if the company, if the valuation of asset are based on market value, then the mark to market process will reduce the value of the asset. So this impairment will be recorded as loss on financial statement. This impairment will be recorded as loss on financial statement. Other impact, maybe it will difficult to insure your asset when which has high degree of climate related risk is for certain asset which is located in coastal area. Maybe it's very difficult to insure because the risk is very high. So maybe insurance company will be reluctant to accept the risk for property located in coastal area. So this should be become a consideration for buyer of the property if they if they consider to buy the property in coastal area, so it will be because the value of the asset will be reduced. And the last one is contingent liability. The third account that will be impacted is contingent liability. So some of you may already know that recently many NGO, non-governmental organizations sue oil and gas oil and gas industry for their contribution on triggering climate change. So this will this will create contingent liability, future contingent liability that has to be set aside, has to be earmarked by the oil and gas company if in the future the NGO wins the sue, if the NGO wins the sue, and consequently the oil and gas industry have to pay for the damage they have caused. So government regulation also have impact on potential future liability if the company fail to comply with the regulation. For example, government can impose cap on carbon intensive industry, and if they fail to cap their carbon emission, if their carbon emission exceed the maximum amount, consequently the company have to pay the carbon tax. And recently Indonesia on September this year, Indonesia has launched a carbon market to cap the amount of carbon emitted to the atmosphere. So the government and the public hope this carbon market will enhance our chance to hit target to become net zero country or carbon neutral in 2060. So basically carbon market tries to put price on a ton of carbon released to the atmosphere. So for company who want to emit the carbon, they have to pay the price. That's the function of carbon market. And as I've told earlier on my early presentation that FRS recently has just issued FRS S2. It's a guidance for company to how to disclose climate related issue matters. So this guidance will make the disclosure in a uniform, so the user can make apple to apple comparison. And one of the clause in the FRS 2 is that each company has to disclose their carbon emission from their operation. Now this is a new thing for company, because now they have to prepare themselves how to manage their carbon emission. So why FRS S2 has to require company to disclose their carbon emission? Well, the answer is because Paris Agreement, under Paris Agreement, each country has an obligation to reduce their carbon emission. So consequently, company have to contribute to reduce their emission. So this is the aim why FRS S2 require company have to disclose their carbon emission. So yeah, certainly disclosing carbon emission certainly will make financial statement become more thicker, become more thicker. And this information also information about carbon emission. This information certainly will give guidance for investor in assessing whether the company's operation is in line with the Paris Agreement. So that's the aim of the why FRS has to require the company to disclose their carbon emission. Indonesia still hasn't adopted FRS2, but in the near future, maybe I think Indonesia will adopt FRS2, and consequently, many companies now have to prepare themselves how to count their carbon emission and how to manage their carbon emission so that they can contribute in emission reduction. Okay, I think it's enough from me. Back to you, MC.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Dewa. Yeah, so Mr. and Dr. Dewa, so let's have a photo session before we end our meeting today. So everyone here, could you please turn your video on? We're going to have a photo session. Yeah, okay, so let's have a photo session, yeah. Dewa and Dr. Ila, so 1, 2, 3. All right then, thank you everyone for joining this online joining class. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, participant, could you please share your thoughts on this feedback link? Complete all the information on the feedback link of OJC and UNIKL 2022. Yeah. Yeah. All right then. If you have done completing the feedback link, you may leave this Zoom, and thank you very much for Dr. Ila and also Mr. Dewa. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you all enjoy the session. All right. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day all.
Yeah. Have a nice day to you too.
Thank you.